Today I'm building one of the hardest projects I've ever done. Although when complete, it will be just a simple rectangular box with relatively easy construction. It's the reason behind this build is what makes it difficult. You see, this will be an urn for my dad, who passed away unexpectedly on January 31st, 2025. He was born and raised in San Saba, a small town in the Texas Hill Country, which is also known as the pecan capital of Texas. This is the reason I chose pecan as the wood of choice to build the urn, which I happen to have some leftover pieces from a previous project. The overall size will be 10.5 inches tall, 8.5 inches wide, and 4 inches deep. I start gathering some of the various pieces of the leftover material, take some rough measurements, and come up with a cut list. Once I get the cut list complete, I start planing the wood down a little bit at a time until I get all the pieces to the exact same thickness of a 1/2 inch. I won't bore you with all the progressions. After planing, I run each piece through the joiner to get one edge flat and square. Then it's off to the table saw, where I set my fence to 4 inches and cut the top and the bottom. Then I reset the fence to 3.5 inches for the sides. Adjusting the fence one more time to 10.5 inches for the front and the back, and that should be all of the pieces. I use a miter gauge to cross-cut the edge to make it square, and then cut the front and back to length. Then repeat the same process for the sides, top, and bottom pieces. For the lid, I set up a dovetail bit and run a few test pieces to make sure I have it set right. This allows me to fine-tune the height and the depth for a precise fit. Once I'm satisfied with the fitment, I run the first side, then the second side. I wait to run the top until the box is assembled so I can get an accurate measurement. I get all the pieces aligned and start the glue up using my finger to spread the glue around. I get all the pieces in place, and using spacers between the clamps and the box so it doesn't mar up the surface, I get everything secure and let it set up overnight. The next day, I remove all the clamps to see how it turned out. I use my trim router with a flush cut bit to make sure all the joints are flush. I reset the bit depth for the sides so the bearing sits just below the joint. Then I router all the edges except for the top of the box where the lid slides. Using one of the test pieces I cut for the dovetail so the angle matches, I use some 180 grit sandpaper and run it along the groove to flush the ends with the side. Then I take a chisel and clean up the glue squeeze out on the inside of the corners. Now that the box is done, it's time to start making the lid. I want to design it not only to slide into the dovetail grooves that were cut into the front and back panels, but also cover the top edges. I start by planing a piece of wood to a 1/2 inch thick. After planing, I rip the lid to the correct width, then router the first dovetail groove. I check it for fitment, then router the second side. A little sanding will get it to slide easily. I square up one end of the lid, then I cut it to length. Now that the lid fits and slides properly, I start sanding the entire box. I won't show you all the sandpaper progressions because frankly, it's not that interesting. But I will tell you I start with 120 grit, then progress to 180, and then finish with 220. My wife cut out my dad's initials using her vinyl cutter. Before applying the stencil, I wipe down the entire box with a lightly dampened microfiber cloth to remove any residual dust. I place the stencil with some tape on the bottom edge to keep it aligned for when I flip it over to remove the backing. I start peeling the backing off and using a piece of scrap hardboard as a scraper, I press the vinyl onto the wood, trying to avoid any air bubbles. This actually turns out to be a little more difficult than I thought because the center of the letter D kept sticking to the paper. I should have used a transfer sheet on the front of the stencil to keep everything aligned while sticking it down. I ended up leaving it on the backing and placing it later. Make sure you go around your edges. You want to make sure that this is completely stuck to your wood. No air bubbles on the edges at all. I don't care about air bubbles in the field because it doesn't matter. The stain I'm using is Varathane Classic Black. Now all I'm going to do is take just an old towel, just going to make a little tuft right there, just a little flat pad, and I'm not following the instructions on the can because it says to wipe with the grain. I'm not going to wipe at all, just going to dab. But what I'm going to do is let this soak up a little bit of stain and then dab the excess off, and then here we go. I'll let that dry for a moment and I'll go over it one more time. After the stain dries, I wipe the excess off the vinyl just so it's not so messy when I go to peel it off. Alright, let's peel it off and see what it looks like. And that's what it looks like. For the lid, I measure and center the stencil, and this time I use a clear transfer sheet to make it easier to apply. The transfer sheet is placed on top of the stencil so the paper backing can be removed to expose the sticky side of the vinyl and keep all the little pieces of the lettering in place. After pressing it down, I remove the transfer sheet at a very sharp angle to keep the stencil from peeling up. I go around all the edges to make sure they are firmly stuck to the wood, and then I repeat the staining process. Just like the first stencil, I apply 2 layers of stain. I wipe off the excess stain and remove the stencil. Then, using a razor blade, I weed out all the small remaining pieces. I got 2 more stencils I want to put on here and stain. My dad had a bulldog named Cookie. He loved that dog. cookie's gonna go right there. He also used to raise parrots, and I'm gonna put the parrot right there on the D in his middle name. I add a piece of blue painter's tape so I can flip it over to remove the backing. I line up the parrot's claws where I want and then press it down in place. I press down the vinyl with my hardboard scraper, then remove the clear transfer sheet. After getting the parrot down, I repeat the process for the bulldog. Next, I tape up all the exposed parts that I don't want to get stain on. Then I apply the stain as I did before. After the first coat set up for about 20 minutes, I apply a second coat and then let it dry overnight. Alright, it's the next day. Let's see what happens. Alright, I got some tweezers here. A lot of little bitty pieces, so this is going to take me a little bit. I got a package of these, and all they are is just a spring-loaded ball catch. Came with 10 of them. I thought they came with the striker, but they didn't. So when you order these, if you need a striker, be careful. I'm not too worried about it. I can just put a small hole right there, and it'll hold this. I'll find the center of this, drill a hole, countersink it just ever so slightly, because it does have a small little lip on it that it can sit flush, so that's what I'm going to try to do. I find the center, use a spring-loaded center punch to create a starting point, and then use a 9/32 drill bit for the hole. I switch over to a step bit, and with very light pressure, I create the countersink for the small lip on the ball catch. Now I'm going to tap that down in there. And it looks pretty flush. Hopefully that leaves a mark. And it did. Right there. So I'm going to drill me a small hole. I use a pencil to highlight the small dent the ball catch made to make it easier to see. I use a 3/16 drill bit to drill a small divot for the ball to sit in when the lid is closed. I slide the lid in to make sure it closes properly. Lord only knows we don't want him getting out. There we go. I heard it click. Not going to fall out now. I tape down the lid so it doesn't move while routing the edges. Using an 1/8 inch roundover bit, I router all the edges. After that's done, I sand all the edges on the lid and the box. Then using compressed air, I blow the dust off inside and out, then wipe everything down with a damp microfiber cloth. I tape off the contact points of the lid and the box and then trim the edges. I start applying the first of 3 coats of polyacrylic finish with a foam brush. Partway through, I realized I needed to raise it up off the table. After the first coat is applied, I let it dry for a couple of hours. Then using a small wooden block, I lightly sand it with 320 grit sandpaper, blow it off, and wipe it down again. Then repeat the process until I get a total of 3 coats. Again, this is kind of boring, so I won't show you all the progressions. After the final coat has dried, I remove the tape and clean up the edges with the same 320 grit sandpaper. Then I slide the lid into place and wait for that oddly satisfying click sound. That's what it looks like, all complete. This will be my dad's final resting place. My dad died on January 31st, 2025. It took me a little over a year to get this video edited and posted, partly because of other projects, but mostly because this one was difficult for me to do. Just before I finished editing on February 22nd, 2026, my mother passed away. I made an urn for her as well, but I did not film it because it was the same process. I used one of her favorite photos of the San Saba Mill Pond waterfall and printed it on decal paper. I taped off the area on the box, painted it white, and applied the decal over the paint to make the color stand out more. After it dried, I applied a coat of polyacrylic, let it dry, lightly sanded the box and photo, then applied 2 more coats the same way. This is how it turned out. Mom and Dad, I miss you both.